Hi, my name's Michael Rhodes, and this is the 15th in my series of short videos. What I'm talking about is bringing light into your life. On this planet today, in the circumstances we're living, we need light bringers. There is a term, light workers. You might ask yourself, what does it mean, light worker? And if you consider you're a light worker and you get angry and you get aggressive and you blame governments, etc., then you're not a light worker at all. You're just playing games. And so a light bringer, every person who is positive and upbeat, lifting their energy, is bringing light into this darkness, into the shadows of this humanity. This humanity is not bad or wrong. It's a low consciousness. Any species, any sentient species, such as humanity, that creates a God in its own image is a low consciousness species. That's what it is. That's only on this planet. Humanity spread out through the solar system and beyond, and they're of a much higher consciousness. But that doesn't make us wrong or bad. You don't have to believe me. You could say, I don't believe that, because you're attached to God in your image, and that's fine. I don't mind. You can play the game. But what we need are light bringers who don't have attachments. People who can smile at other people. I walked along in Switzerland, walk along the path there by the river, just outside Bern, with my wife, Carolyn, and we smile at people. We smile at everybody. People middle-aged can't even look at you when you smile at them. Children, no problem. Some of the elderly, they smile, but so many people don't smile. And that doesn't make it wrong. I know the Swiss people and how they are, and this is just simply an example. I go to Japan and smile at them on the streets, and they tend to look away rapidly. And yet, Japanese people have a very high culture of honor. It wasn't too long ago, only a few years ago, you could leave a suitcase on the platform one day and go back and pick it up the next, because nobody would touch it, because it was dishonoring themselves. And so, looking at people generally, how much do we honor ourselves? If you honor yourself, you are a light bringer. If you honor yourself, you honor life. And if you honor life, life will honor you. That's how it works. You are life. We have this idea that life is something outside of us. It isn't. That's illusion. You are life. You're a bringer of life and light, or you're not. When we grumble about everything that's wrong, then we're part of that problem. When we look at what's wrong or what we think is wrong, or we look at the problem and we look at it in a light-hearted way, solutions present themselves and we move through life very easily. And right now there's a lot of shadow. We have governments all around the world, and we have a shadow government. And then we have a deeper controller, what I'd call a dark government, behind the shadow government, behind the regular governments. This is where the control takes place. There's no more freedom in governments than there is in the people they govern. And governments are supposed to do the will of the people. That joke, that's an old joke. Doing the will of the people. Oh my God, let's all be locked up, please. And I don't think I'm hearing that. And so, bring in light. Bring in light means that you look at, as you go through your day, you look, literally, you have a consciousness. Where can I bring a smile into somebody's life? Where can I bring light into somebody's life? How can I bring light into my life? You don't have to go around being a do-gooder, because to do good, you've got to see wrong. And so you've got to correct it to do good. That doesn't work. For instance, if you're at a checkout and there's a person there who's paying for their goods, for their groceries, and they're short of a bit of money, and you simply say to the teller, it's okay, I'll pay the rest. That's wonderful. That's bringing light into the light of somebody else. You weren't looking for it. You just heard it, you were there, and it was for you to do. And there's a lot of wonderful people like that. I was in a little breakfast restaurant in America a few years ago. It was 8:30 in the morning. This really impressed me. I saw a black man sitting in there, big smile, lovely white teeth, flashing a smile around, an older man. And so we were finished long before him, and I went to the till to pay for our breakfast. And I said to the woman, I said, the black man over there, has he paid? She said, no. I said, I'll pay for his breakfast. And she looked at me in surprise. She said, you're the third person this morning who, she said, do you know him? I said, no. She said, you're the third person this morning who's bought breakfast for somebody they don't know. This is Americans. They have big hearts. They do things like that. It's a common thing that they will pay, and when they're putting money in to go through their toll roads, they'll put money in and say, oh, that'll cover the person behind me. That's light bringing. You know, paying for somebody. Two people before me had bought somebody else's breakfast they didn't know in one humble little cafe in America. And it's going on all over the world. Those people bring light into somebody else's life. That other person is you. That other person is humanity. That's what light bringing is. Everything you do, you're doing for humanity. There's no separation. There's no just you and just that other person. That is humanity you're doing it for. And so there are a lot of people who do good things. They outnumber the others by a long way. But what we need now is the thought and the emotional level. Doing good deeds is wonderful, but having good thoughts, having thoughts that no longer blame and no longer look angrily at other people. You know, on my Facebook, I write it, I feel no anger. I'm simply shining a light on what I see taking place. I feel no anger. I feel no despair. I have no fear. You can't have despair if you have no fear. I don't have fear, and so I feel no despair. I'm just shining a light on something that I see happening that I would feel the world should wake up to. And so when you're thinking and you see somebody in the street and you think, oh wow, what a beautiful man. A man whose face might not conform to any form of beauty, but you see beyond the face, you see the energy of this man. You feel the energy of the man. What a beautiful man. You've just put beauty into the world, into all of humanity. But we tend to identify beauty as something that is like a clothes horse with some clothes on it, if it's female, and a man who's, I won't even go there. We have an identity that we call beauty. That's not beauty. Beauty is energetic. Beauty is a state of consciousness. I could tell you a little story. I was once, had a couple of friends, more acquaintances, and I called them the ugly couple. And they didn't know that, of course. And as I say, these were more acquaintances than close friends. And he had been kicked in the face by a horse when he was very young, and she had had some similar disability, and they'd come together and had a lovely marriage, and I liked them very much. And I went through a lifting consciousness where instead of seeing my face as something that needed home improvement every day, I saw the beauty in me, and I couldn't stop laughing for 3 days. And so I went to look to see the ugly couple who had a little shop, and when I walked in, they were exactly the same faces that they had when I'd gone in before, and I saw them as beautiful. And I wanted to run over and hug them and say, God, you're so beautiful. But I couldn't, because they were not of that consciousness. They would have been deeply insulted. It wouldn't have worked. It would have been truth out of timing. But I saw their beauty, and that was the key. And ever since then, I see beauty in humanity. I see beauty in people. I see beauty in the countryside. I'm not a city lover, but I see beauty in the cities. Every time you're seeing beauty, you are bringing light. Every time your thoughts lift and you think about what a beautiful world we live in. You're bringing light into the world. Every time you smile at a stranger, you're bringing light into the world. Every time somebody is looking down and out, and you maybe just give them a few coppers or a few coins, you're bringing light into the world. I know a lot of people never give money to beggars, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the act of generosity, not the thought and the process. I'm talking about the energy. Everything is energy. And when you can go through a day and you've had a good day and you're smiling at yourself on the inside, you're bringing light into the world. And when you look at the situation we're in now and realize it is inevitable, it's not something to be feared, it's something to rejoice in. Because when this is all over, we're going to live in a very different world and it's going to be a very much better one. And hopefully people will be more conscious. And so when you can walk down the street and look at people and choose love, when you can be treated badly in a shop by a shopkeeper, you can choose love. And when you're a shopkeeper and you're treated badly by your customers, which happens a lot, and you can choose love, you're bringing light into the world. When you can no longer need to identify with other people's pain and other people's negative energy and other people's negative words, when you can rise above that, you are bringing light into the world. And the more light we bring into the world, the more positive is going to be the outcome of the change we're going through. It's all in our hands. It's not them out there. There is no them out there. It's us, you and I, we. We are humanity and we need to bring about a change using new tools. We have an enemy that we can't see unless we look in the mirror, and then we see the enemy. And when we can look in the mirror and love what we see and treat our so-called enemy beautifully all day and turn our enemy into our best friend, you are bringing light into the world in an unprecedented way. It's about love, loving yourself, seeing the beauty of yourself, seeing the joy in yourself and sharing it with other people. This is what brings about change. The many, many, many ways of expressing love, real love, living, working, active love, not emotional mush. We're talking love, the powerhouse that love is, the amazing change that love is. This is what we're talking about. So just love yourself.